So let me share a little bit of Torah. There is a Gemara in Maseches Brachos and Daf Yud Beis Amud Aleph, where the Gemara quotes a Mishnah in Maseches Tamid, in the 5th parak of Tamid, that tells us that in the Beis Hamikdash, when the Kohanim would say Kriya Shema, they would recite the Aseres HaDibros together with Kriya Shema. And the Gemara says that the Chachamim wanted this practice to be instituted not only in the Beis Hamikdash, but outside the Beis Hamikdash as well. But they didn't do so because of Tarumas Haminim, that the heretics were going to say something bad, that they were afraid that the Minim, the heretics, would claim that the fact that the only text recited along with Kriya Shema is Aseres HaDibros is indicative of the idea of the possibility that that the rest of Torah is not really of divine origin, that only the Aseres HaDibros were heard directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or were received directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the rest of it maybe is not from divine origin. So in order that people shouldn't be given that impression, shouldn't begin to think that the Torah wasn't given by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that the entirety of Torah wasn't given by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which of course would be against one of the Yud Gimel Ikarei HaEmunah, would make someone an apikoros to believe such a thing. So they did not want to institute the daily recitation of Aseres HaDibros as part of Kriya Shema. Now the Rambam writes in a tshuva that apparently you see from here, the Rambam in Tshuvas HaRambam Siman Reish Samach Gimel, you see from here that we're not supposed to distinguish Aseres HaDibros from the rest of Torah. We're not supposed to elevate Aseres HaDibros above the rest of Torah. And he says, and therefore, when it comes to treating the parts of Torah, we have to treat them all equally. And therefore, the Rambam says that it is a terrible thing. It is a terrible thing that there is a minhag that has developed in the Jewish people, that people stand for the reading of the Aseres HaDibros. How can you do such a thing? How could you stand for the reading of the Aseres HaDibros? After all, it's a violation of this Gemara. You don't stand for the rest of Kriyas HaTorah, so why would you be able to stand? Why would it be okay to stand for the reading of the Aseres HaDibros? That is the Rambam, and it's for that reason that the Ramah paskins that the Aseres HaDibros can only, if you're going to recite them daily, you do it privately. You don't do it b'tzibur. You can recite Aseres HaDibros all you want privately, but not b'tzibur. And Rav Schachter points out that some poskim disapprove of the practice that we had in my shul growing up, of having the Aseres HaDibros on the Aron Kodesh. You find this in many shuls, that the Aseres HaDibros are on the... Why are you only putting the Aseres HaDibros on the Aron Kodesh? You should put Kol HaTorah Kula or none of it on the Aron Kodesh. You shouldn't distinguish Aseres HaDibros from the rest of Torah. So Rav Schachter pointed out that that's... one could argue that since placing the Aseres HaDibros on the Aron Kodesh is a practice that has been observed in many communities, one could argue that we can defend that practice rather easily. That is not a way of distinguishing the Aseres HaDibros from the rest of Torah. What is the Aron Kodesh? What role does the Aron Kodesh play in our shuls? The Aron Kodesh is our entire shul is what the Gemara Megillah calls a mikdash ma'at. It's a miniature Beis Hamikdash. So you can identify the different things in shul and how they correspond to different items in the Beis Hamikdash. Some of them are harder to identify. There's no mizbeach in shul, but you have to figure out which part of the shul corresponds to the mizbeach, which part corresponds to the shulchan. And those are difficult. There's one really easy one. Which part corresponds to the Aron? The Aron, right? So that works pretty well. So what was in the Aron in the Beis Hamikdash? So it was in the Aron. The luchos, v'shivrei luchos were in the Aron. The Gemara in the first paragraph of Basra tells us that the luchos were in the Aron, and on the luchos were written the Aseres HaDibros. So the purpose of writing the Aseres HaDibros on the Aron Kodesh is not to show that it's different in terms of that we received it differently from HaKadosh Baruch Hu as opposed to the rest of Torah, but rather it's to demonstrate that this is what this is what was actually in the Aron in the Beis Hamikdash. But going back to this criticism of the minhag that the Rambam has, that the Rambam says the Rambam doesn't talk about having it on the Aron Kodesh. The Rambam talks about standing for Aseres Aseres HaDibros. What's so terrible about standing for Aseres HaDibros? So the Rambam says it violates the Gemara in Maseches Brachos. The Gemara says you're not allowed to say Aseres HaDibros in Kriya Shema. The Chum thought it was a good idea and then decided it's a terrible idea. So isn't it likewise a terrible idea to stand for the recitation of the Aseres HaDibros, for the reading of the Aseres HaDibros in Parshas Yisro and in Parshas Eschanan, which we do, I think, in almost all shuls. In my shul we do it. So what's the justification? So this is a classic piece of Torah from Rav Soloveitchik. I'll share with you, just to demonstrate the depth of Rav Soloveitchik's insight, I'll share with you what other Gdolei Yisrael say about this topic and how they deal with the fact that our minhag is to stand for Aseres HaDibros in spite of the fact that the Gemara says we should not distinguish Aseres HaDibros, because sometimes, not to chas v'shalom suggest that other Gdolei Yisrael are less than or have it's just different. It's a different type of insight. It's a different type of approach to a sugya that Rav Soloveitchik has from the other Gdolei Yisrael. So I'm going to share with you some of the approaches of other Gdolei Yisrael, and then we'll see how Rav Soloveitchik's approach, in a certain sense, is so much more satisfying in explaining that which we do. Rav Moshe Sternbach, who should live and be well, he just turned 100 years old last week. I just got a note from a friend of mine who's a rabbi in England, Rabbi Nicky Liss, that he had visited Rav Moshe Sternbach last week, and he delivered a happy birthday message from His Majesty King Charles to Rav Moshe Sternbach. Yeah, you've seen the video? So he showed me pictures of him. So Rav Moshe Sternbach, should live and be well, he's still, Baruch Hashem, of sound mind. In his very first volume of Tshuvos V'Hanagos Chelik Aleph, Siman Kuf Mem Dalid, he tries to explain why it is that we stand for, that the minhag has become to stand for Aseres HaDibros, and he essentially says two things, to summarize. He says, first of all, the minhag is to stand a few psukim earlier. So we don't just start at Anochi Hashem Elokecha, we start a little bit earlier, and since we're standing for a few psukim prior, it's not really distant. No one thinks that the few psukim prior are different than the rest of Torah. So once you're standing for a few psukim prior to the Aseres HaDibros, it doesn't give any mistaken impression. In fact, Rav Avad Yosef in Yechavadat Chelik Vav Siman Ches says that one should not stand for Aseres HaDibros, but he says if you're going to, then start standing a few psukim prior, meaning he thinks of this same idea as well. So that's how Rav Moshe Sternbach says, and then he says it could be that the whole hakpada of the Gemara, the whole discussion in the Gemara was, should it be recited, should it not be recited? The discussion in the Gemara was never how should it be recited. It was yes or no. It wasn't style while you're reciting it. So the Gemara says, no, we're not going to institute a new recitation of Aseres HaDibros. The discussion that you have in whether you should stand or sit is when we're reading it in the Torah anyway. So you're reading Kriyas HaTorah anyway. So then it's that's not so offensive to be able to stand for Aseres HaDibros. That's what Rav Moshe Sternbach says to justify our practice. The Marshal in a tshuva in Siman Samach Dalid writes that the whole hakpada of the Gemara, the whole concern of the Gemara, was only about saying Aseres HaDibros as part of Kriya Shema. But to say Aseres HaDibros or to otherwise distinguish Aseres HaDibros from the rest of Torah, that's perfectly fine. It was only incorporating it into Kriya Shema that would give it such an honorable place in Judaism that would have been too much. That would have been that would have separated it too much from the rest of Torah. But to stand or sit is not as much of a differentiator that we have to be so concerned about Terumas Aminim. Rav Moshe Feinstein writes something similarly in Igros Moshe Arachaim Chelik Dalid Simin Chaf Beis, that you can't compare this Gezerah to that Gezerah. They decided not to include in Kriya Shema. Has nothing to do with whether you're going to stand or sit. Then Rav Moshe Feinstein suggests another approach, and he says, well, is Aseres HaDibros the only thing we stand for in Shul? What else do we stand for? Az Yashir. Does anyone think Az Yashir was heard from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the rest of the Torah wasn't? Would anyone have a Hava Amina that Az Yashir is? No, so we see that the things that we stand for are not things that we're only, meaning there are two ways to address the concern that the Apikorsim are going to say that only Aseres HaDibros was received directly from God and the rest of it was not. One is to lower down the Aseres HaDibros with everything else, and the other is to take other parts of Torah and lift it up, to treat it the same way that you would Aseres HaDibros. And once you lift up Az Yashir on that same level, so no one's going to get confused anymore. There's no one that's going to think that only the parts that were received from Har Sinai directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu are recited while standing. So that is not a concern. That's how Rav Moshe Feinstein writes. So basically we have, I think we said, 4 approaches as to how to justify our practice, despite the fact that the Rambam was absolutely clear that he thinks it is a terrible thing to stand for Aseres HaDibros. Right? We have Rav Moshe Sternbach's first approach, which is that since we stand for a few psukim prior, that makes it okay. Rav Moshe Sternbach's second approach, that the question was if to say, not to say, but how to say is not a problem at all. We have the approach of the Marshal, and Rav Moshe Feinstein says similarly that it's only an issue about Kriya Shema, it's not an issue about anything else. And we have this approach of Rav Moshe Feinstein that once you're standing for Az Yashir, then it's not an issue. None of them really address the Rambam. Meaning the Rambam said you can't do it, and we do it. So all of those approaches say, essentially, yeah, we don't really listen to the Rambam, that we don't paskin like the Rambam. Now, one of the foundations of Rav Soloveitchik's learning and his presentation was to try to explain as many Rambams as he possibly could. There's a famous story of Rav Soloveitchik, I'm sure you could find it in one of these shiurim, where Rav Soloveitchik said that as a little boy, he was listening to his father saying shir to a number of Talmidim that had come to the house, and there was a question on a Rambam, and his father was working and trying to figure out how to answer the Rambam. And in the end of the day, he didn't have a cogent approach in the Rambam. And little Beryl Soloveitchik goes to his mother, and he's crying. And his mother says, "What's the matter, Beryl?" And he says, Tati couldn't for the Rambam. He couldn't come up with an approach to the Rambam. The Rambam's in trouble. How can I go to sleep if the Rambam's still in trouble? And she said to him so wisely, "Don't worry, Beryl. Whichever Rambams your father can't take care of, one day you're going to take care of." And that's what he spent the rest of his life doing, taking care of the Rambam. So Rav Soloveitchik's not going to be happy to just say, "Oh, okay, we don't do like the Rambam." There must be an approach in this Rambam. Rav Twersky Shlita once commented that Reb Chaim's contribution to Talmud Torah was that prior to Reb Chaim, the way most people would learn is if you have a machlokas, one Rishon says this, the other Rishon says that our job was to figure out who is right. Is it this one or is it that one? To figure out who has the more cogent argument, who is correct. And he said what Reb Chaim was mechadesh was that the Ravid can learn in, was that the Ravid knows how to learn also. Meaning they're both right. You just have to explain why this one approaches it from this perspective, that one approaches it from that perspective. So comes along Rav Soloveitchik and he says, the Rambam was right. And we paskin like the Rambam. How come we then stand for Aseres HaDibros? So Soloveitchik famously pointed out that there are 2 sets of trup on the Aseres HaDibros. This is what's called Tam Elyon and Tam Tachton. The Tam Tachton is the regular trup in Kriyas HaTorah that we have. Tam Tachton divides up the Torah into psukim, as you would expect the Torah to be divided up. Meaning, after all, the entire exercise of Kriyas HaTorah is a limud HaTorah berabim. It is a public learning of the Torah, and the Torah is divided into psukim. That's why Rav Soloveitchik pointed out on a different occasion that whenever we have a unique form of Talmud Torah, it also gets a unique form of Birchas HaTorah. Person wakes up in the morning, they recite Birchas HaTorah, that's supposed to cover the learning that they do all day. So why is it that before you learn from the Torah, before you read from the Torah, you say other Birchas HaTorah, you say another bracha? on the Torah? Because this is a different format of Limud Torah. It is Limud Torah, it's a different format. Rav Soloveitchik said the same is true when it comes to the Seder night. That the Seder night, we start Magid with Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu, Baruch Shenasan Torah Li'amo Yisrael Baruch Hu. What is that? So Rav Soloveitchik said, that's Birchas HaTorah, that we're about to engage in an exercise of Talmud Torah, of learning the Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, of learning the Psukim of Arami Ovid Avi, of learning that whole parsha, and therefore it warrants its own style of Birchas HaTorah. So the exercise of Kriyas HaTorah is Talmud Torah Barabim, and therefore it makes sense to read the Torah pasuk by pasuk. There's a rule called pasuk to lo paski Moshe, anan lo paskinan, that when you're learning Torah, you have to read pasuk by pasuk. You're not allowed to start cutting up psukim and saying a part of a pasuk here, a part of a pasuk there. Yet, there is another division of how to read the Aseres HaDibros, and that is Tam Elyon, the other trup where it breaks it up not by psukim, but by dibros. For example, you have Shabbos takes up several psukim, and it's all one unit in the Tam Elyon. Yet when it comes to Lo Sinaf and all those lows, one right after the other, so that takes up only a single pasuk. But in the Tam Elyon, we read them as separate units, one after the other. So what Rav Soloveitchik suggested is that the Rambam's problem in distinguishing Aseres HaDibros from the rest of Torah was when you are treating Aseres HaDibros as Torah, as Talmud Torah. So then it cannot be distinguished from the rest of Torah, because it is the rest of Torah is just as much a part of Torah as the Aseres HaDibros are. However, at the Kabbalas HaTorah, when we received the Luchos contained the Aseres HaDibros. So whenever we are going to reenact the moment of Kabbalas HaTorah, when we're going to reenact the receiving of the Luchos through Moshe Rabbeinu, in that sense, we can distinguish Aseres HaDibros, because that's what was received at that moment. And Rav Soloveitchik suggested that's what Tam Elyon is. Tam Elyon is when we want to reenact the moment of Kabbalas HaTorah, rather than simply engage in the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. And therefore, it's mistaver to say that when you're going to read B'Tam Elyon, when you're going to read with the Aseres HaDibros as Dibros, that you should stand just like we stood at Kabbalas HaTorah. When you're going to read B'Tam Tachton, you're going to treat the Aseres HaDibros as a portion of Torah, well then you treat it the same way you treat the rest of the Torah. Now, the Rambam's shita is that we always read B'Tam Tachton, that we always read the Aseres HaDibros, even on Shavuos. Yisro, Beschanan, and on Shavuos, we always read it B'Tam Tachton. And if that's the case, then the Rambam, of course, is going to say, look, it's always an exercise in Talmud Torah. You cannot distinguish Aseres HaDibros from the rest of Torah. There were many Rishonim that had a practice, and communities that had a practice, that in Veschanan and Yisro, they would read with Tam Tachton, and on Shavuos, they would read with Tam Elyon. And they likewise had a practice that on Yisro and Veschanan, they would sit for Aseres HaDibros, and on Shavuos, they would stand for Aseres HaDibros. What's our practice? When we read Parshas Yisro, Parshas Veschanan, it's always B'Tam Elyon. We're always reading it as Dibros. And Shavuos, we always read it B'Tam Elyon. We always read it as Dibros. Once you're reading it as Dibros, then there's no problem to stand for the Aseres HaDibros. Even the Rambam won't have a problem with standing for the Aseres HaDibros. So again, whereas everybody else says, okay, our practice is not like the Rambam. We have to decide, is the Rambam right or is everybody else right? Even the approach that says, okay, so stand for a few psukim before, how come the Rambam didn't think of that? The Rambam just yells about that we shouldn't be standing. How come he didn't think of standing for a few psukim before? So obviously, they're all taking an approach that is contrary to the Rambam. But as Rav Soloveitchik's mother told him when he was a young child, one day you're going to save the Rambam. And he was able to save this Rambam to explain to us how the Tam Elyon is the driving force behind our ability to have this practice of standing during the Aseres HaDibros. If time would allow, I would have shared a different piece of Torah as well, but I think we're out of time, and I thank you all for coming and participating in what I think could be an extremely promising project and something that's going to enhance the Talmud Torah of so many of the Talmidim like me who never got to hear directly from Rav Soloveitchik. Everyone have a wonderful day.